Hey, how's it going? Today is 25th of August, Sunday, and we are taking a look at the market, what kind of opportunities we can find since it's Sunday. I thought it might be interested thing to do would be taking a look at some of the articles. We're gonna be taking a look at US. We're gonna be looking at Wikipedia and trying to understand what this Invention Secrecy Act 1951. We're gonna be taking a look at inflation in UK and how things are going in UK. I guess since inflation, I would say it's massive, but either way. And it's something that was released by the Sky News, so I thought we can touch on it and some of that data, which potentially we'll be taking a look at inflation and what is being published do not reflect what's really happening, right? So that's kind of troubling, right? When it comes to government and how information is being presented to the public by the government, right? From there, we can take a look at perhaps Invention Secrecy Act and all the half of England owned by less than 1% of the population, right? I haven't read this article, so I thought it might be important. It's was published 5 years ago. we can we can start with this article, and from there we can progress and take a look at US, which might be the structure of today's video. Half of England is owned by less than 1% of its population, according to new data shared with The Guardian. That's where I'm taking this article from, right? That's seeks to penetrate the secret secrecy that has traditionally surrounded land ownership, right? So the entire sector might be very complex, but either way, we're going to be taking a look at secrets. The findings described as astronomically unequal, which is always good. It suggests that about 25,000 landowners, typically members of the aristocracy and corporations, have control of half of the country. The figure shows that if the land were distributed evenly across England's population, each person will have just over half an acre and are roughly half the size of Parliament Square in central London. So this is how much land potentially all the people would own, right? The figure shows that if the land were distributed even, okay, a major owner includes, okay, there's the names there, while land has long been concentrated in the hands of a small number of owners. Precise information about property ownership has been notoriously hard to access, but combination of the development of digital maps and all data as well as pressures from campaigners had made it possible to assemble the shocking statistics right now. I don't know, but either way, so some of that information was published some time ago, right? And perhaps a lot of changes have happened. Either way. Uh, the book findings are drawn from combination of public maps data releases throughout the Federation, Freedom of Information Act and other sources, right? But again, sometimes Freedom of Information Act do not apply to some documents, right? So either way, the Sharpsole estimate that aristocracy and gentry still own around 30% of England. This may even be understatement. Yeah, I thought it's way higher. As owners of 17% of England and Wales remain undisclosed and all undeclared the land registry. The most likely owners of the since the way how they can structure some of these contracts and all this kind of ownership and who's paying taxes, all those kind of things. So there might be reasons, right, why they would structure that in a very particular way, since many people perhaps would jump under the car and later sue the person. So there's perhaps safe mechanisms there. But all kind of people out there, right? Not that I would recommend anyone to do a no go to extremes, right? Shrubsole estimates that 18% of England is owned by corporations, some of them based overseas or in offshore jurisdictions. He had based this calculation of a spreadsheet of land owned by UK registered companies. So this is what we're looking for, potentially not people directly, but the companies, and them. Even there might be a lot of reasons why and how a lot of contracts might be structured in this particular way. So I don't want to go too much into detail, as well as this information was published 5 years ago, and a lot of numbers have changed, if anything. Land ownership, and if we are taking a look at inflation, perhaps where you're investing your money, right? Perhaps this and we can bring more attention to. Potentially, we're taking a look at businesses, business owners, and investors, right? A lot of people might be considering investing, purchasing land, as well as then taking a look at establishing a business and different ideas and how that can work. That would be Invention Secrecy Act. Is something that Act provides for the withholding of certain patents that might be determined to the national security and other purposes. Other purposes, basically. Economic purposes can be, or it could be whatever reason. Fill in a blank. So we can potentially purchase patents, right, if we feel like it, and hold them instead of perhaps using those patents. Put things into perspective, if you were to build a car and that car would be powered by water, it's something that was done previously in the US, and according to Invention Secrecy Act, they don't really need to release that car to the public, since that would be some of those governments would have economic repercussions of a lot of invested interest in keeping things in the way how they are, right? Ideas restricted by Invention Secrecy Act, secret orders can be prohibited from the public disclosure. So you can, if you were to, or your ideas were to be prohibited, you can even talk about those ideas, right? Sales to any party except the United States military industry or exports to other nations can be prohibited, and can even be sealed from the public as classified, right? So this perhaps, even if we take a look at perhaps in history, just try to imagine how many inventions were to be hidden under this act, right? And appeals are limited to United States federal agency that itself restricts the ideas. The United States Patent and Trademark Office has investigated the possibility of restricting new technologies, and those new ideas may be disruptive to existing industries, and or make some of those existing industries extinct, right? Like oil, perhaps, which some of those governments have built upon. The Invention Secrecy Act has been criticized for a lack of oversight and impact on the future scientific research by inventors, industry, attorneys, and or academics, right? So for that, perhaps bring more attention to this kind of things that are there, mechanisms called right, that could limit progression and for special interest people, right? Thanks for watching. See you next one.